To the one who is sitting down now, whether on the edge of your bed, at a kitchen table with a cup of something that has gone cold, or in a chair by a window where the light comes in, but the warmth somehow does not reach you. This letter is for you. Not for the version of you that has it together. Not for the face show on ordinary days when someone asks how you are doing and you say fine, because fine is the shortest distance between you and not having to explain everything. This letter is for the real one, the one underneath all of that, the one who has been carrying something heavy for a very long time and has started to wonder, quietly, in the moments no one else can see, whether the carrying will ever end. I need you to hear this before anything else. What is about to happen in your life is not small. It is not a slight improvement or a modest change in circumstance. What is coming toward you right now, in this very season, is the kind of shift that will divide your story into before and after. And the reason I am writing to you today, the reason this message found its way to you at this exact moment, is because heaven decided you needed to be told directly, not through a vague feeling, not through a symbol you might miss, but through words, plain and clear and personal, written as if someone sat down and thought only of you. So sit down. If you are already sitting, go deeper. Let your shoulders drop. Let the noise of everything you have been managing and monitoring and holding together go quiet for just a few minutes. Because what I am about to say to you is going to require all of you to receive it. You are a chosen one. And I do not say that lightly, and I do not say it to every person who stumbles across a message like this. I say it because of what you carry. I say it because of what you have survived. I say it because of the very specific things that have been happening to you that you have not been able to name, things that set you apart from the people around you in ways that sometimes feel like a gift and sometimes feel like a burden. So heavy you are not sure you can keep going. Let me name some of those things right now. If you have been experiencing an unusual sharpening of your dreams, not just vivid pictures but full conversations, warnings, feelings that linger into the afternoon the next day, that is not random. Your spiritual senses are being tuned for something. If you have felt a restlessness that has no clean explanation, a sense that you are supposed to be somewhere or doing something, and yet every door you push seems to stay closed, that is not failure. That is positioning. If familiar people in your life have started to feel like strangers, not because anything dramatic happened, but because you have simply grown past something they cannot see yet, that is not loss. That is pruning. If you have found yourself waking in the middle of the night, not from a nightmare but from a deep, wordless knowing that something is shifting, something is about to break open, you are not imagining it. That knowing is real. It is a signal. And if you have noticed the same message appearing in different places, a song on the radio, a sentence in a book, a comment a stranger made that stopped you cold, all pointing to the same idea, as if the universe has been circling you with a single word it is trying to get you to hear, then you are not losing your mind. You are being spoken to. These are not coincidences. They are coordinates. They are the language heaven uses when it is trying to prepare someone for something. They are not yet ready. The person being prepared, the one those coordinates are pointing toward, is you. Now I want to be honest with you about something. I know that the word chosen can feel hollow when you are in the middle of a season that feels anything but chosen. When you have been passed over for something you deserved. When you have watched people around you move forward while you stayed still. When your prayers feel like they are bouncing off the ceiling and coming back to you unopened. In those moments, being told you are chosen can feel like someone handing you a beautiful frame with no picture inside it. It sounds good. It means nothing you can feel. But I am not asking you to feel it yet. I am asking you to stay with me long enough for the feeling to catch up to the truth, because the truth is already present. The truth is already in motion. The truth is what brought you to this message at this specific moment in your life. You did not find this by accident. Nothing about where you are right now is accidental. Not the waiting, not the silence, not the closed doors, not the loneliness that has settled into the places where certainty used to live. All of it has been intentional. All of it has been part of a preparation so thorough, so precise, that the only word large enough to describe it is divine. You are an earth angel. You carry something in you that this world needs, not eventually, but now. You are part of a plan that was written before you arrived here. A plan that has not been canceled by your circumstances, has not been delayed by your doubts, and has not been diminished by a single year of waiting. Heaven has paused everything around you, held it in a kind of sacred suspension, just to make sure this message reached you today, just to make sure you heard it, just to make sure you knew that what is about to come into your life is not a consolation prize. It is the real thing, the full thing, the thing you were made for. And the waiting is over, not almost over, not nearly done. The preparation is complete. What remains is simply the step forward. There is something that happens in a long season of waiting that no one talks about honestly enough. And I want to talk about it with you right now because I think you have been carrying it alone for too long. It is not just impatience. It is not just frustration. It is something quieter and more personal than that. It is the feeling that arrives without warning, usually in a still moment. Usually when there is nothing to distract you from it. A wave of sadness that does not have a clean source. You cannot point to a single event and say that is where it came from. It just rises, heavy and wordless and strange. And when it comes, it carries with it every unfinished thing, every door that opened just slightly and then closed again before you could walk through it. If you have felt that wave, I want you to know that I see it. Not the version of it you describe when someone asks what is wrong. The real version. The one that sits in your chest at 2 in the morning when the house is quiet and you are staring at the ceiling, wondering if something is fundamentally broken inside you. That wave is real, and it is not a sign of weakness. It is actually one of the clearest signs that you are in a genuine season of transition. Because that kind of grief only comes to people who are leaving something behind. You cannot feel the weight of departure unless you are actually departing, and you are. Even if you cannot see where you are going yet, you are already moving. Let me name 4 things that I believe you will recognize. Not because I know your exact story, but because these 4 experiences belong to a specific kind of person in a specific kind of season. And I believe that person is you. The first is that sudden wave of sadness about the past. Not nostalgia, though, which is soft and golden. This is sharper. This is the feeling that arrives when you look back at a version of yourself from a few years ago and feel something close to grief for what that person went through, for what they hoped for what did not come the way they believed it would. It arrives without permission, and it does not respond well to logic. You cannot think your way out of it. You can only feel it, acknowledge it, and understand that the reason it's surfacing now is because your soul is doing something important. It is clearing space. It is making room. Grief like this is not a step backward. It is the body's way of releasing what it no longer needs to carry. The second thing you may be experiencing is that familiar places and people have started to feel heavy and strange. Not in a dramatic way. Nothing has necessarily gone wrong between you and the people you love. But there is a subtle shift, a kind of quiet distance that was not there before, as if you are standing behind glass, looking at your own life and noticing that it fits you differently than it used to. The conversations that once felt socichen now feel flat. The environments that once felt comfortable now feel too small. You smile at the right moments and say the right things, and yet something inside you is leaning toward a door that no one else in the room seems to be able to see. This is not you becoming cold. This is not ingratitude. This is the unmistakable sign of a person who has outgrown one container and is waiting to be poured into another. The third sign is the recurring dream. Maybe it is not always the same image, but the feeling is the same. A door that is closed, a hallway you cannot quite reach the end of, a room you know is yours but cannot seem to enter. These images are not random neural noise. They are the language your spirit uses when the waking mind is too defended to receive the message. The door in your dream is real, not physically, but spiritually and symbolically real. It represents the threshold you are standing at, the one you are about to cross, and the reason you keep dreaming about it without opening it is because in waking life, you have not yet fully believed that you are allowed to walk through. The fourth sign is this. The same message keeps finding you in different places. A word from a stranger, a line in a song, a sentence in something you were reading that you almost skipped, all pointing to the same idea, all carrying the same quiet weight. When this happens repeatedly over days or weeks, it is not coincidence, it is confirmation. Heaven does not repeat itself unless what it is saying is urgent, and when it sends the same message through multiple channels, through music and conversation and scrolling and dreams, it is because the message is for someone who has been conditioned by disappointment to doubt. It is reaching you through every available door because it knows some of those doors have been closed by what you have been through. And I want to stay here for a moment longer in the honest place before we move forward, because I know that this season has cost you things that deserve to be acknowledged. The insomnia is real. Those hours between 2 and 4 in the morning when sleep will not come, and your mind runs through every possible version of how things could have gone differently. That is real, and it is exhausting. The loneliness is real, not just the social kind, but the deeper kind, the feeling of being fundamentally unseen by the people closest to you, the feeling that the truest part of you has never really been witnessed by another human being. The feeling of being wronged is real. There are situations in your past where you were treated as if your gifts did not matter, your effort did not count, your presence could be overlooked without consequence, and the feeling of being misunderstood is real. You have tried to explain yourself and been met with blank stares or gentle dismissal, and after enough of that, you stopped explaining. I am not going to rush past those things. I am not going to immediately flip them into something positive, because that would be dishonest and you deserve better than that. Those losses are real. That pain has weight, and it deserves to be named before it is reframed. But here is what I also need you to hear. There is a difference between being overlooked and being positioned, and that difference changes everything. Being overlooked means you were forgotten. It means you fell through the cracks of someone else's attention, and nothing caught you. It means the silence around your life is empty silence, the kind that has no purpose and no promise inside it. Being positioned means something entirely different. It means you were placed deliberately, with intention and care and a precision that you may not be able to see from where you are standing right now, but that is no less real for being invisible to you. Positioned means the silence around your life is not empty. It is full of preparation, full of alignment, full of the slow and careful work of arranging the right people, the right opportunities, the right circumstances, in exactly right order, so that when the moment arrives, nothing is missing and nothing is wasted. You have not been forgotten. You have been positioned. The waiting you have been enduring is not punishment. It is not evidence that you asked for too much or believed for something too large or somehow disqualified yourself from the life you were meant for. The waiting is protection. You were held back from some things because those things were not built to hold what you carry. You were kept from some people because those people did not have the capacity to honor what is inside you. You were delayed at some thresholds because what was waiting on the other side was not yet ready for you, and you were not yet fully ready for it. The delay was not rejection. The delay was refinement. And now the refinement is complete. Now the alignment is in place. Now, what was held back is being released, and what was being assembled behind the scenes is about to come into full view. If you feel this in your body right now, if something in your chest or your stomach recognized itself in these words before your mind could catch up, I want you to type the words "I see it" in the comments below. Not for me, for yourself. As an act of declaration, as a way of saying out loud, even through a screen, that you recognize what is happening in your life, that you are not confused about the season you are in, that you see it. Those 3 words carry more power than they appear to. Declarations matter. The moment you name something true about yourself, something shifts, something is sealed. So if these words have found you, and if somewhere beneath the weight of the waiting you know that what I am describing is your story, type it. I see it. Let it be the first thing you say out loud in this new season. And if this message has meant something to you today, if it has reached a place in you that needed to be reached, I want to ask you something gently and honestly. This channel exists because of people who believe that messages like this one should reach the people who need them most. Every video takes real time and real care to write, to record, to send out into the world. If you feel moved to support that work, even a small contribution through the donate link in the description means that another chosen one, someone sitting right now in the same kind of quiet desperation you may have felt before you found this message, gets to hear it too. You are not just supporting a channel. You are extending a hand to someone you will never meet at a moment when they need it most. Like this video so the algorithm carries it further. Share it with one person who needs to hear their name called. Subscribe so the next message finds you the moment it is ready. Every one of those actions is an act of generosity, and generosity in a season of positioning is never wasted. You are not alone in this. You are not the only one who has been in this waiting place, wondering if the promise was real. All across the world, right now, other chosen ones are sitting with this same message, recognizing the same signs, feeling the same quiet certainty, beginning to rise beneath the weight they have been carrying. You are part of something larger than your individual story. And the chapter that is opening right now, the one that begins with you sitting here, choosing to receive what is being spoken over your life, is one of the most important chapters you will ever live. You have been seen. You have been named. And now I want to give you something to do with what you are feeling. Because I know that for a certain kind of person, the kind of person who has been in a long season of waiting and carrying and believing without evidence, receiving a word of truth is not always enough on its own. There is a part of you that needs something to hold, something practical, something that bridges the distance between the spiritual reality you just received and the ordinary Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever day it is that you still have to live inside of. So this is what I want to give you now, not a theory, Not an abstract concept, a practice. Something simple enough to do anywhere. Something that costs you nothing but 7 minutes of your time, and something that, if you do it consistently, will begin to change the internal landscape of your life in ways that are not small. Before I give you the 3 steps, I want to say something about the nature of practices themselves, because I think there is a misconception that gets in the way for a lot of chosen ones specifically. The misconception is this: that spiritual practices are meant to earn something, that if you do the right thing the right number of times with enough sincerity, heaven will finally decide you have done enough and release what you have been waiting for. That is not what this is. A practice is not a transaction. It is not a performance. It is not a way of proving to God or to the universe or to yourself that you deserve what is coming. What is coming is already coming. It has already been decided. The practice is not about earning the arrival. The practice is about preparing your inner world to receive it, without flinching, without deflecting, without the deeply conditioned reflex that so many chosen ones carry, the reflex that says good things do not last for people like me, so I should not hold on too tightly. That reflex was built over years of disappointment, and it has served you in a way. It has protected you from the full force of certain letdowns, but it has also, quietly and without your permission, been building a wall between you and the fullness of what is meant for you. The practice I am about to give you is not about tearing that wall down violently. It is about softening it. 1 day at a time, 7 minutes at a time, until the wall becomes a door and the door becomes a threshold, and you realize you are already standing on the other side of everything you were afraid to hope for. So here are the 3 steps. They are simple, they are specific, and they work. Step 1 is this: before you do anything else in the practice, before you sit still or close your eyes or do anything that requires you to be quiet, I want you to remember something that did not happen, not something that went wrong, something that was withheld from you, something you wanted very much that never came, and that, looking back now with even the smallest amount of honest reflection, you can see was actually a protection. This is harder than it sounds. It requires you to hold 2 things at the same time: the genuine pain of not receiving what you asked for, and the genuine possibility that the not receiving was an act of love rather than an act of rejection. Maybe it was a relationship that did not work out, one that you grieved for longer than you would like to admit, and that in the clarity of distance, you can now see was not built to hold the person you are becoming. Maybe it was an opportunity that slipped through your hands, a door that opened and then closed before you could walk through it, and that in retrospect was leading somewhere that would have taken you further from your purpose rather than closer to it. Maybe it was a version of your life that you had planned in detail, a specific timeline, a specific picture of how things were supposed to look by a certain age. And that version did not arrive, and you have been grieving it quietly ever since. Take one of those things, hold it gently, and then, from the deepest place of honesty you can access right now, say thank you for it. Not because the pain was not real. It was real. Not because the disappointment did not matter. It did. But because you are beginning to understand, slowly and imperfectly, and without needing to have it all figured out, that the withholding was not abandonment. It was redirection. And every redirection in your life has been moving you toward the same destination. The one that is now close enough to feel. When you do this step sincerely, something shifts in your body. There is a releasing that happens, subtle but real, in the muscles across your shoulders, in the place behind your sternum where grief tends to collect. That releasing is not nothing. That releasing is the beginning of the alignment your inner world needs in order to receive what your outer world is about to deliver. Step 2 follows directly from step 1, and it requires you to make a statement, not a wish, not a prayer exactly, though it can become one. A statement, said out loud if at all possible, because spoken words carry a frequent silent thoughts do not. The statement is connected to a specific understanding of time that we will explore more deeply in a later part of this message. But for now, I want to give you the statement itself and ask you to trust its power before you fully understand its mechanics. The statement is this. Say it slowly, with your full breath behind it. What was promised over my life is not governed by the clock I have been watching. It is governed by a timing I cannot see, but I choose to trust. And I declare that I am available to receive it, fully and without reservation, in this moment and in every moment that follows. Say it once and notice what happens in your body. Say it a second time and notice if it lands differently. The statement is not magic. It is alignment. It is the act of bringing your spoken declaration into agreement with a spiritual reality that already exists. You are not creating something new by saying these words. You are opening a door that was already there. You are saying, in language that both your conscious mind and your deeper self can hear simultaneously, that you are no longer going to fight the timing of your own life, that you are stepping out of resistance and into receptivity, that the posture of your heart from this moment forward is open. This step matters more than it appears to, because one of the most common invisible barriers between a chosen one and the fullness of what is meant for them is not doubt exactly, and it is not unbelief exactly. It is a kind of braced readiness, a tensed anticipation that is always slightly on guard, always slightly prepared for disappointment, always holding the joy of expectation at arm's length just in case. That braced posture, held over years, becomes a form of self-protection that paradoxically keeps the very thing you need from landing fully. The statement in step 2 is the practice of releasing that brace, one declaration at a time, one morning at a time, until openness becomes your natural posture rather than a thing you have to work to achieve. Step 3 is where the practice becomes something you experience rather than something you think about, and it is the simplest step of the 3, though for many people it is also the most difficult. Step 3 is 7 minutes of silence, not meditation in the complicated sense, not a practice that requires training or technique or the ability to empty your mind, which, if you are a chosen one with a busy and highly active inner life, may feel like asking you to do the impossible. This is simpler than that. 7 minutes of stillness, seated comfortably, eyes closed if that feels natural, with no phone, no music, no input of any kind, just you and the quiet and whatever arises in that quiet. What you will notice in those 7 minutes, especially in the beginning, is that your mind does not want to be still. It will bring you your to-do list. It will replay conversations. It will offer you worries you thought you had already resolved and questions you do not yet have answers to. Do not fight any of that. Do not judge yourself for thinking. Simply notice each thought as it arrives. Acknowledge it without engaging it, and let it pass the way a cloud passes across a sky without changing the nature of the sky itself. You are the sky. The thoughts are the clouds. They are real, but they are not you, and they do not have to determine the quality of what you are experiencing beneath them. What happens in the deeper layers of 7 minutes of consistent daily stillness is something that science has actually begun to measure and describe, and that is something we will come back to very shortly, because it connects directly to a discovery that has changed the way researchers understand the human brain. And its capacity for breakthrough. But for now, what I want you to understand is this. 7 minutes is not arbitrary. It is not a number chosen for its simplicity or its convenience. It is the specific duration that allows the brain to begin shifting from its default reactive state into something deeper, something older, something that was present in you as a child and that has been buried under years of stress and speed and the relentless demand to produce and perform. 7 minutes is enough. Time for that older, deeper state to begin to surface. Not fully, not all at once, but enough for you to feel the difference. Enough for something to begin moving in you that has been still for a very long time. Do these 3 steps every day. Morning is best, before the noise of the day has a chance to set the tone of your inner world. But any time is better than no time. The consistency matters more than the timing. The intention matters more than the perfection. You do not need to do this flawlessly. You do not need to feel profound every morning. Some mornings you will do step 1 and feel nothing. Some mornings the statement in step 2 will feel hollow. Some mornings the 7 minutes of silence will feel like 7 minutes of mental noise. Do it anyway. Because the practice is not measured by how it feels on any given day. It is measured by what it is building across days and weeks. And what it is building is the internal architecture of a person who is genuinely ready for what is coming, not braced for it, not guarding against disappointment, ready, open, available, grounded enough to receive the massive thing that is moving toward your life right now without being knocked over by it. The practice prepares the vessel, and what is coming requires a vessel that has been prepared. You are that vessel. These 7 minutes are part of how you become fully ready to receive everything that heaven has been holding in trust for you. Everything that has your name on it, everything that is, even now, moving into position. So start tomorrow morning, or start tonight, or start the moment this message ends. 3 steps, 7 minutes every day. And stay with me, because what comes next will give you the science behind why this works. And it will change the way you understand not just the practice, but your own mind, your own potential, and the very specific way you were designed to receive the breakthrough that is already on its way to you. Now I want to talk to you about something that is going to bridge everything you have just received into a dimension you may not have expected. Because I believe that truth has no borders between the spiritual and the scientific, and what I am about to share with you is the place where those 2 worlds meet in the most remarkable way. You are a chosen one. We have established that. But what does that mean in terms of how your brain actually functions? What does it mean in terms of the specific frequency your mind operates at when you are at your most creative, your most intuitive, your most connected to something larger than yourself? Because here is what researchers have discovered, and it is not a small discovery. Chosen ones, people who carry a specific depth of intuition, a specific quality of inner awareness, a specific capacity for pattern recognition and creative breakthrough, actually carry a measurable difference in their brain activity. Not metaphorically, not spiritually, though it is that too, measurably. In the literal electrical activity of the human brain, researchers call it gamma, the gamma frequency, and it is the frequency that has been associated across decades of neuroscientific study with the moments of highest human cognitive performance, the moments of sudden clarity, the moments when a solution arrives not through grinding effort, but through a kind of effortless knowing that feels like it came from somewhere beyond the ordinary thinking mind. Gamma is the frequency of what some researchers call the eureka state. It is the brain operating at its fullest expression. And the extraordinary thing The thing that connects the science directly to everything we have been talking about in this message is that gamma activity is most consistently observed in two specific populations: highly creative individuals and children whose minds have not yet been trained out of wonder, children who have not yet learned to distrust their intuition or manage their expectations or brace themselves against disappointment, children who live in a state of open receptivity that adults have spent years slowly, invisibly closing down, and highly creative individuals, people who have maintained or rediscovered some version of that original openness, that original willingness to receive what the ordinary defended mind cannot access. If that description sounds familiar, it should, because that is you. That is precisely the profile of the person this message is for. But here is where it gets more specific and more practically useful, because knowing that you carry a certain frequency is one thing. Knowing how to activate it consistently, how to return to it deliberately, rather than waiting for it to arrive randomly, is something else entirely. And this is where the work of one researcher in particular becomes important. His name is Dr. James Rivers. He is a neuroscientist whose training began at MIT, one of the most rigorous research institutions in the world, and whose work over more than 30 years has focused on a single question. Why do some people consistently access states of high cognitive performance, while others, equally intelligent, equally capable on paper, seem to spend their lives operating below their actual potential? What is the difference? And is that difference something that can be deliberately produced, or is it fixed, something you either have or you do not? Dr. Rivers spent the early part of his career studying the brains of individuals who consistently demonstrated exceptional creative output, exceptional problem-solving ability, exceptional capacity for what can only be described as inspired thinking. And what he found, across thousands of hours of research and through a collaboration with researchers connected to NASA's study of cognitive performance in high-stakes environments, was that the difference was not intelligence in the traditional sense. It was not education. It was not even effort. The difference was a specific pattern of brainwave activity that the high performers were able to access, sometimes consciously and sometimes without knowing they were doing it, that the average person almost never accessed at all. And the two frequencies at the center of that pattern were theta and gamma. Theta waves, which oscillate at a frequency of between 4 and 8 cycles per second, are associated with the deep creative state, the state of fluid learning, strong intuition, and the kind of relaxed awareness that is present in deep meditation and in the moments just before sleep. It is the frequency at which the brain is most open, most permeable to new information, most capable of making the unexpected connections that produce genuine insight. And gamma, which operates at a much higher frequency, is associated with peak cognitive integration. The moments when the brain is processing information at its highest level of sophistication and producing its most advanced output. What Dr. Rivers discovered was that the relationship between these two frequencies was not accidental. In the highest performing individuals he studied, theta would arrive first, creating a state of deep openness and receptivity, and then gamma would follow, using that openness as a platform to generate extraordinary cognitive output. Theta opens the door, gamma walks through it. And the reason most people never experience gamma consistently is not because they are incapable of it. It is because they never access the theta state deeply enough for gamma to have a foundation to build on. The modern world is almost perfectly designed to prevent theta, the constant noise, the relentless input, the anxiety of an always connected life, All of these things keep the brain locked in what researchers call beta, the frequency of ordinary waking consciousness and active problem solving, which is useful for managing daily tasks, but which actively suppresses the deeper states that produce genuine creative and cognitive breakthrough. Most people spend their entire lives in beta, occasionally dropping into alpha during moments of relaxation, and almost never reaching theta at all. And gamma, for most people, is so rare that when it does arrive, it feels almost supernatural, a moment of sudden knowing, a solution that appeared from nowhere, a creative idea so clear and complete it felt like it was given rather than generated. Dr. Rivers devoted the later part of his career to answering one question: can the theta to gamma sequence be deliberately induced? And after years of research, building on decades of existing work in the field of brainwave entrainment, the answer he arrived at was yes. Not through years of meditation practice, not through pharmaceutical intervention, not through anything that requires special skill or training or a particular kind of mind. Through sound, specifically through a precisely engineered combination of binaural beats and isochronic tones, audio frequencies calibrated to guide the brain gently and reliably into the theta state, and then to create the conditions in which gamma naturally follows. The result of that research is a 7-minute audio track called the Genius Wave. And the reason it is 7 minutes is not arbitrary. As you may remember from the practice protocol I shared with you earlier, 7 minutes is the specific duration that Dr. Rivers and his team identified as the threshold at which the brain reliably crosses from its default beta state into the theta frequency, not 8 minutes, not 15. 7. Because beyond a certain point, the brain does not go deeper, it simply holds the state it has reached, and holding is not the goal. The goal is the crossing. The goal is the moment of transition from defended ordinary consciousness into open receptive genius level awareness. And 7 minutes, with the right audio, is consistently enough to get there. Now I want to tell you about someone who used this. A woman who came to the Genius Wave not through a spiritual search, but through sheer exhaustion. She had been running her own small business for 4 years, working harder than anyone she knew, and consistently producing results that were good, but never quite exceptional, never quite the breakthrough she could feel was possible, but could not seem to reach. She described herself as perpetually on the edge of something, without ever arriving. She started using the 7-minute track every morning before she opened her laptop, before she checked her messages, before the day had a chance to set the terms of her thinking. Within 3 weeks, she described a change that she struggled to articulate, but that was unmistakable to the people around her. Her thinking was faster. Her decisions were clearer. Ideas that had eluded her for months arrived effortlessly in the quiet after the audio ended. Within 2 months, she had restructured her entire approach to her work, landed a client she had been trying to reach for 2 years, and described feeling, for the first time in a long time, like she was operating from the inside of her potential rather than pressing against the outside of it. She told Dr. Rivers that the 7 minutes had not changed what she was capable of. It had changed her access to what she had always been capable of. And that distinction is important. The Genius Wave does not add something foreign to your brain. It removes the interference that has been preventing you from accessing what was already there. It clears the frequency. It opens the channel. It does for your brain what 7 minutes of the deepest possible stillness would do if most of us were capable of reaching that stillness without help, which, in a world designed to keep us perpetually in beta, most of us are not. Now I know what some of you are thinking right now. $39 is not nothing. And you are right. It is not nothing. That is a real amount of money, and I am not going to pretend otherwise or rush past the validity of that thought, because I respect you too much to dismiss what is a completely reasonable hesitation. But I want you to hold that thought next to one other thought. What is 1 year of operating below your actual potential worth? What is 1 more month of feeling like the breakthrough is almost here but not quite arriving? What is the cost? Not in dollars but in time and energy, and the slow erosion of believing in yourself, of continuing to press against the outside of your own potential without ever being given the tools to reach what is on the inside. The Genius Wave is normally priced at $49. For a limited time, through the single link in the pinned comment below this video, it is available for $39. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee, which means you have 3 full months to use it every morning and decide for yourself whether what I am describing is real. If it does not change anything, you get every dollar back. No questions, no conditions. One important thing: there are imitation products circulating that use similar language and similar claims. Do not purchase from any source other than the single link in the pinned comment below. That is the only verified source for the authentic track developed through Dr. Rivers's research. Any other version is not the same product and will not produce the same results. This offer is available for a limited time and at a limited quantity at this price. The window is real, and it is not indefinite. If something in you recognized itself in this message, if the 7-minute practice I described earlier already felt right before you even knew the science behind it, then trust that recognition. It is the same recognition that brought you to this message in the first place. And that recognition has never been wrong about you, even when everything else felt uncertain. The Genius Wave is waiting for you in the pinned comment. And what is waiting on the other side of consistent daily access to your own deepest potential is something far larger than $39. It is the life that has been prepared for you, and you are closer to it right now than you have ever been. Before we move forward, I need to sit with you in something that the previous part of this message may have stirred up without fully addressing. Because when we talk about tools and frequencies and the science of breakthrough, there is a part of the chosen one's story that can get skipped over in the rush toward the solution. And I do not want to skip over it with you. Not today. Not in this message. Because I think you have had enough of people moving past your pain too quickly, reframing it before it has been fully seen, handing you the silver lining before they have acknowledged the weight of the cloud. So before we go any further into what is coming, I want to go back into what it has cost you to get here, because getting here has cost you something real. And that deserves to be said plainly. The years of waiting, however many they have been for you, whether it is 2 years or 5 years or a decade or more, those years did not pass through you without taking something with them. They took things you are not sure you will ever fully recover. And I want to name those things honestly, without rushing to tell you it was all worth it, without immediately reaching for the redemption narrative. Because sometimes the most healing thing a person can hear is simply this: yes, that happened, and it was hard. And what it took from you was real. The first thing the waiting took was relationships. Not all of them, but some of the most important ones. Because when you are in a long season of preparation, when you are being held at a threshold that no one else around you seems to be standing at, the distance between you and the people you love can become a quiet, persistent ache. Some relationships could not survive the version of you that the waiting was producing. Some people in your life needed you to stay the same, needed you to remain in the role you had always played, needed you to want the things they understood and move at the pace they recognized. And when you could not do that, not because you chose to leave, but because something in you was being pulled towards something they could not see, those relationships frayed. Some of them broke, and you have carried the grief of that. Sometimes alongside the guilt of wondering whether your growth was worth the cost of their departure. There are friendships you do not have anymore that you wish you still had. There are conversations that ended before they were finished. There are people who were present in one chapter of your life and absent in the next, not because of conflict or betrayal, but simply because the distance that opened between you grew too wide to cross. And that kind of loss, the slow and quiet kind, the kind that does not have a clear moment of rupture, is in some ways the hardest kind to grieve, because there is no clean ending to point to. There is just the gradual awareness that someone who mattered is no longer close, and the silent question of whether that was necessary, whether it could have been different, whether you gave up something irreplaceable in exchange for a destiny that has not yet fully arrived. The second thing the waiting took was momentum in your career. And I want to be specific about this, because I think vague acknowledgement is not enough. There were positions you could have had. There were opportunities that came to people around you, people who you knew in your honest moments were not more capable than you, not more dedicated, not more deserving, but who moved forward while you stayed still. There were years of your professional life where you did everything right, worked harder than anyone around you could see, brought your full self to every task, and the return on that investment was silence, or something small, or a recognition so insufficient that it almost felt worse than no recognition at all, and you smiled through it. You kept going. You told yourself it was coming. And then another year passed and it had not come, and you had to find it in yourself to believe again, from a place that was a little more depleted than it had been the year before. That is not a small thing. That is the slow erosion of a person's confidence in their own gifts. And it deserves to be named for what it is. The third thing the waiting took was the freedom to tell your big dreams out loud. Do you remember when you do that? Do you remember a time when you could describe the life you believed was possible for you? The full version, the unreduced version, without immediately bracing yourself for the look on someone's face, the subtle skepticism, the gentle but unmistakable suggestion that you might be reaching too far, the well-meaning advice to be realistic. And somewhere along the way, after enough of those looks and enough of those conversations, you learn to keep the biggest dreams internal. You learn to present a smaller version of your vision to the world, a safer version, a version that would not invite the kind of response that costs you more energy to absorb than you have available to spend. You stopped saying out loud what you still believed in private, and that self-editing, that daily practice of making yourself smaller to protect yourself from disappointment, took something from you that you may not have fully measured yet. The fourth thing the waiting took was the most personal and the most devastating. It took seasons of your faith in yourself, not your faith in God, though that has been tested too, but your faith in the you that God made. The confidence that the gifts you carry are real. The certainty that the vision you have been holding is not a delusion, but a calling. There were moments, long moments, stretches of weeks and months where you looked in the mirror and genuinely could not find the evidence that what you believe about yourself is true. Where the gap between who you know yourself to be in your deepest moments and how your life appears from the outside felt so wide that bridging it seemed not just difficult but impossible. And in those moments you did not share with most people, the moments of real private doubt, you wondered whether you had been wrong about yourself all along, whether the waiting was not preparation but verdict. I am not going to move past that quickly. I am going to sit here with you in it for a moment, because that pain is real, and you deserve to have it witnessed before you are asked to release it. There was a young man in a story that is thousands of years old but feels as immediate as this morning, who knew from the time he was 17 years old that he was chosen. He had dreams that confirmed it. He had a sense of destiny so strong that he made the mistake of sharing it too freely with the wrong people. And the people who should have protected him, the people who should have celebrated what was in him, chose instead to be threatened by it. They stripped him of the thing he valued most. They threw him into a pit. They sold him into circumstances so far beneath what had been promised over his life that any reasonable person looking at his situation would have concluded that the dream was dead, that what he believed about himself had been disproven by the evidence of his circumstances. His name was Joseph. And I am not going to tell you today about the ending of his story, because that is not what this moment is about. This moment is about the pit. This moment is about the years he spent in Potiphar's house doing everything right and still ending up in prison. This moment is about the forgotten promise, the deferred dream, the long silence of a God who seemed to have stopped speaking. This moment is about what it feels like to carry a destiny in your chest while your circumstances tell a completely different story. To know what you were made for while being held in a place so far from it that the distance feels permanent. Joseph did not fast forward through those years. He lived them, every day of them, every morning of waking up in a place that was not where he was supposed to be, carrying a promise that had not yet been delivered, maintaining an integrity that was not being rewarded, holding on to something invisible in the face of a very visible and very painful reality. And I am telling you about the hard part of his story today, not the triumphant part, because I want you to understand something that the triumphant version of the story did not disqualify Joseph. The prison did not cancel the promise. The years of silence were not evidence that God had changed his mind. And every single painful, confusing, dignity-stripping chapter of that long waiting season was not wasted. It was not random. It was not punishment. It was the specific and irreplaceable preparation required for the specific and irreplaceable assignment that was waiting for him on the other side of all of it. Not a version of the assignment, the full assignment, the one that required every scar, every year, every morning of choosing to maintain his character in a place that did not deserve it. Every night of holding a promise that looked, by every available measure, like it had expired. You are not Joseph. Your story is your own and it belongs to no one else. But the pattern is the same. And the God who did not abandon Joseph in the pit, who did not forget him in the prison, who did not cancel the dream because the timeline had gone far past what any reasonable person would have expected, is the same God who has been present in every silent year of your life, every closed door, every relationship that did not hold, every morning you got up and kept going without knowing why, except that something in you refused to stop. That refusal was not stubbornness. It was not pride. It was the signature of a chosen one who was being held for something that required exactly this preparation and not one day less. What was taken from you in the waiting was real, and it will be honored, not replaced exactly, because some things that are taken cannot be returned in the same form, but honored, transformed into the specific wisdom and depth and capacity for genuine compassion that only comes to people who have waited this long, carried this much, and chosen to keep believing anyway. You are still here. After everything it cost you to get here, you are still here. And that is not a small thing. That is everything. What you just allowed yourself to feel in the previous part of this message took courage, real courage. The kind that does not announce itself loudly, but that costs something genuine. The willingness to sit inside the truth of what has been taken, without immediately reaching for comfort, without covering the wound before it has been fully seen. And I want to honor that courage by giving you something now that will not diminish what you just felt, but will place it inside a larger frame. A frame so old and so carefully constructed that when you see you're wading through it, everything changes. Not the facts of what happened, the meaning of what happened. And meaning, as any person who has survived a long and difficult season will tell you, is the difference between a wound that closes and a wound that does not. I want to introduce you to two concepts. They come from different traditions and different centuries, but they speak to the same truth, and that truth is one I believe you are ready to receive right now because of the ground we have covered together in this message. These are not academic ideas. They are not theological exercises. They are living languages, ways of understanding time and experience that will give you new words for things you have already been living through. And new words change everything. When you can name what you are inside of, you are no longer consumed by it. You become its witness, and a witness has a different relationship to their experience than a victim does. The first concept is the difference between two ancient Greek words for time. The first word is chronos. The second word is kairos. And the difference between them is not a small grammatical distinction. It is a completely different understanding of what time actually is and how it actually operates. Chronos is the time you already know. It is the time on your phone, the time on the clock on your wall, the time that measures how many days have passed since you prayed for something and it has not arrived yet. Chronos is sequential. It is measurable. It moves in one direction at a fixed pace, and it does not make exceptions. Chronos is the time that produces statements like it has been 3 years, or I have been waiting since I was 28, or another birthday has come and gone and nothing has changed. Chronos is not cruel. It is simply indifferent. It does not know your name. It does not know your story. It moves the same way for everyone, regardless of what they are carrying, or what they've been through, or what is being assembled on their behalf behind a curtain they cannot see through. Kairos is something else entirely. Kairos is not a quantity of time. It is a quality of time. It is the right moment, the appointed moment, the moment that has been prepared, that has been held in reserve, that arrives not according to the Chronos calendar, but according to a different kind of precision altogether. Kairos is the word used in the ancient texts not to describe how much time has passed, but to describe the specific moment when something that was being prepared is finally ready to be released. When the conditions have aligned, when the person has been formed, when what was promised and what is possible finally occupy the same moment in the same place. And here is what I need you to understand about the relationship between Chronos and Kairos in your life right now. All of the Chronos time that has passed, every day of the waiting, every month of the silence, every year of the carrying has not been empty time. It has been the container inside which Kairos was being prepared. Chronos does not produce Kairos, but Kairos requires Chronos to have passed. The two are not in opposition. They are in collaboration. The clock has been running, yes, but the clock has been running towards something, and what it has been running toward is not a vague improvement. It is a specific, prepared Kairos moment that has your name on it, and that No amount of Chronos delay has been able to cancel. This is not a reframe designed to make you feel better about wasted time. This is a description of how divine timing actually operates. You have not been waiting in Chronos while Kairos passed you by. You have been being prepared in Chronos so that when Kairos arrives, you will be the specific person that specific moment requires. Not a lesser version of yourself who got there faster. The full version of yourself who got there exactly on time. Because Kairos does not reward speed. It rewards readiness. And readiness is not something that can be rushed. It is something that is built, slowly and sometimes painfully, through exactly the kind of seasons you have been living through. This is not positioning as a reward for your patience. It is positioning as the natural result of a process that was never about your timeline to begin with. The Kairos moment that is approaching your life right now has not been delayed. It has been scheduled. And the schedule was written before you arrived here. The second concept I want to give you comes from the Hebrew language, and it is a single word that will permanently change the way you understand what you have been doing in the waiting. The word is kava. It is typically translated into English as the word wait, and in that translation something essential is lost. Because in English, waiting is passive. Waiting is sitting in a chair. Waiting is the absence of activity. Waiting is what you do when there is nothing else to do, when the thing you want has not arrived yet, and there is nothing in your hands. But kava does not mean that. Kava, in its original Hebrew usage, is a word drawn from the image of twisting or braiding rope. Think about what that actually involves. To braid a rope, you take individual strands, each one thinner and weaker on its own than the finished product will be, and you twist them together with intentionality and tension and patience. The braiding requires pressure. It requires the strands to be pulled against each other. It requires resistance. And the result of all of that pressure and resistance and intentional tension is something that the individual strands could never be on their own. Something stronger, something that can bear weight, something that holds. That is what kava means. That is what you have actually been doing in the season you have called waiting. You have not been sitting passively in a chair while life happened around you. You have been braiding. Every year of difficulty has been a strand being twisted into the rope. Every closed door has added tension that increased the strength of the final cord. Every relationship that cost you something, every professional disappointment that required you to get back up, every night of insomnia, and every morning of choosing to believe again from a place of genuine depletion. All of it has been the braiding process. All of it has been adding to the tensile strength of a person who is being formed to carry something significant. You are not delayed. You are being assembled. And the assembly is not arbitrary. It is precise. Every strand that has been added to the rope of your life has been added with intention, has been twisted with a specific amount of pressure, has been held at a specific tension for a specific duration, because the assignment that is coming requires a rope of a specific strength, and that strength cannot be manufactured quickly. It cannot be approximated. It is either present or it is not. And in you, after everything you have been through, it is present. The braiding has produced exactly what was required. Now let me bring these two concepts together and show you how they apply specifically to where you are right now, in this moment, in this season of your life. You have been living in Chronos time, measuring your waiting in days and months and years, feeling the weight of every unit of time that passed without visible progress. And that measurement has been real, and the weight has been real. But underneath the Chronos, the Kairos has been being prepared, and simultaneously, in what felt like passive waiting, The kava has been happening. The braiding has been happening. The rope has been forming. The strands of your experience, your grief, your resilience, your repeated choice to believe without evidence have been twisting together into something of extraordinary strength. And now the kairos is here, not approaching, not soon, here. The moment that was scheduled before you understood what scheduling meant at this level has arrived, and the rope that has been forming through every difficult season of your life is exactly strong enough to hold what is about to be placed in your hands. There is a concept related to this that I want to name briefly because it speaks to the specific emotional territory you may be in right now. In the symbolic language of scripture and ancient wisdom, traditions, midnight is not simply a time. It is a threshold. It is the place of maximum darkness that exists at the precise boundary between one day and the next. Midnight is the moment when everything looks most finished, most final, most beyond recovery. It is the hour when the evidence for hope is at its thinnest, and the evidence for despair is at its most convincing. And it is, in the language of these ancient traditions, the specific hour at which heaven most consistently begins to move. Not after midnight, at midnight, in the darkness, before the first evidence of morning has appeared. This is not coincidence. This is pattern. And the pattern says something important about where you are right now. If you are in your midnight, if this is the season that feels most final, most dark, most like the evidence has run out, then I need you to hear this with everything in you. Midnight is not the end of the story. Midnight is the hinge. Midnight is the moment the story turns. Not how, tomorrow, now. At the exact point of maximum darkness, heaven began to move. At midnight, when everyone around you thought it was over, when the Chronos clock showed nothing but lost time, when the braiding felt more like breaking than assembling, heaven looked at the rope you had become and said, now, this is the one. This is the moment. This is the person who has been formed by exactly this process for exactly this assignment. This is the kairos. Release it now. That midnight is yours. You are standing inside it right now. And the movement that is beginning in the darkness, the shift that you can feel in your chest even before you can name it, the unmistakable sense that something is different about this moment compared to all the others, that is not wishful thinking. That is your spirit recognizing the kairos that your mind has not yet caught up to. The door that is opening in this season is not like doors that have opened before. This door carries a different quality, a different weight. You have been in the habit of pushing doors open through sheer effort and then wondering why what was on the other side did not feel like what was promised. This door will feel different. You will not need to push it. It will open toward you. And when it does, you will recognize it, not because it looks like what you imagined, but because it carries a peace that your body will know before your mind can explain it. Not every door that appears in this season will carry that peace. Some will look promising and feel empty, but the door that is yours, the one that is being opened right now by the same hands that have been assembling you through every difficult season, that door will feel like coming home. You have not been delayed. You have been assembled. The midnight has not been wasted. It has been the hinge. And the kairos that was written before you arrived is opening in front of you right now. Not in spite of everything you have been through, but because of it. Every strand of the rope held, and the door that is opening is strong enough to need exactly that rope to open it. You have always been ready. The appointed time simply had to arrive, and it has. Something has shifted in you over the course of the message, and I want to acknowledge that before we go any further. The concepts you just received, the kairos that is arriving, the kava that has been forming you, the midnight that is also the hinge. Those are not ideas you heard and stored in your memory for later consideration. They landed somewhere deeper than that. You can feel it, even if you cannot fully articulate what has changed. There is a quality of settledness that was not present at the beginning of this message. Not certainty exactly, though certainty is coming. Something quieter than certainty. A kind of permission. Permission to stop fighting the timeline of your own life. Permission to stop treating the waiting as evidence against you. Permission to stand where you are standing right now and know that this ground, this exact ground, is exactly where you are supposed to be. And from that ground, I want to tell you what is coming. Not in vague spiritual language that sounds beautiful, but leaves you with nothing to hold. Specifically, concretely, in the 3 areas of your life where the shift is going to be most visible, most undeniable, and most personal. But first, I want to name something that is happening inside you right now, because I believe you are experiencing it even as you listen to this. And I want you to know that what you are feeling is not imagination. There is something that begins to stir in a chosen one when the Kairos moment arrives, before any external evidence has appeared, before a single door has visibly opened, before the phone rings, or the letter arrives, or the conversation happens that changes everything. It is an internal movement, a quickening, a sense that something beneath the surface of your ordinary life is waking up. Something that has been in a kind of suspended animation through the long season of waiting. Something that is now stretching and opening in its eyes and becoming aware of itself again. You may be feeling it as a sudden restlessness that is different in quality from the restlessness of the waiting season. This restlessness has energy in it rather than exhaustion. It feels like the beginning of something rather than the continuation of something that has gone on too long. You may be feeling it as a heightened sensitivity to everything around you, as if your senses have been turned up slightly, as if color is a little brighter and sound is a little clearer, and the ordinary details of your day are carrying a significance they did not carry last week. You may be feeling it as a sudden return of ideas, creative impulses, visions of possibility that you had quietly stopped allowing yourself to have because the disappointment of having them and not seeing them materialize had become too costly. And you may be feeling it as something that is harder to name than any of those things, something that sits at the center of your chest and feels like the distant approach of something enormous. Something that is still beyond the horizon, but whose vibration you can already feel in the ground beneath your feet. That feeling is not wishful thinking. It is not the desperate optimism of a person who has been in the dark so long that they are inventing light. It is genuine spiritual perception. It is your inner self responding to a reality that has not yet become visible, but that is already present. The enormous thing that is coming toward your life, the massive shift that God has declared over you, is already in motion. It has already left where it was held. It is already crossing the distance between the promise and the fulfillment. And your spirit, which has always been more awake than your circumstances have allowed you to demonstrate, is picking up its approach the way an animal senses a change in weather before a single cloud has appeared in the sky. Trust that feeling. Do not dismiss it. Do not manage it down to something more reasonable. Do not protect yourself from it by reminding yourself of all the times you felt something similar, and it did not arrive the way you expected. This time is different, not because you feel it more strongly, though you may, but because the preparation is complete. The rope has been braided, the Kairos has arrived, and what is coming now is coming all the way. Now let me tell you specifically what is about to change. The first area is relationships. And I want to be honest with you about what this will look like, because the relationship transformation that comes in a breakthrough season does not always feel like a gift at first. Some people who have been in your life, people you care about, people who have genuinely meant something to you across the years of your waiting, are going to begin to move away. Not dramatically, not through conflict or betrayal, simply through a natural and gentle increasing of distance that will feel, when you first notice it, like another loss. I want you to be prepared for that, and I want you to understand what it actually means when it happens. It is not punishment. It is not abandonment. It is completion. Those relationships carried you through a specific season of your life, and they did their work faithfully and well. But the season they were designed for is ending, and the grace that held them in place through the waiting is now releasing them, gently and without cruelty, because what is coming requires space that did not exist before. And into that space, new people are coming. People whose timing is not accidental. People who arrive at exactly the right moment with exactly the right capacity to see what is in you, to honor it, to call it forward rather than manage it down. These are not people you will have to convince. You will not have to explain yourself to them, or make yourself smaller to be understood by them, or hold back the fullest version of who you are to keep them comfortable. They will meet the full you, and they will recognize it. And that recognition, after a long season of feeling fundamentally unseen, will feel like drinking water after a drought. The people who are coming into your life in this new season were not available to you during the waiting. They were being prepared at the same time you were, and the timing of your paths crossing is not coincidence. It is the Kairos alignment of two people who were both being made ready for exactly this meeting. So when the familiar faces begin to drift, let them go with gratitude and without guilt. And when the new faces appear, do not be suspicious of the ease. Do not look for the catch. Not every connection that feels right is too good to be true. Some connections that feel right are simply right. The second area that is about to change is purpose. And this is the one that I think many of you have been most afraid to believe in. Because purpose has felt for a long time like a word that applies to other people. People who have their thing figured out. People whose calling arrived clearly and early and without ambiguity. People who have not spent years staring at the ceiling, wondering what they are actually supposed to be doing with the specific combination of gifts and wounds and experiences and longings that make up who they are. If that description fits you, I want to say something directly. The clarity that has eluded you is not being withheld from you. It has been waiting for this exact season to arrive, because clarity of purpose, the deep and unshakable kind, is not something that can be given to a person before they have been formed enough to hold it without distorting it. What is coming in this season is not a dramatic announcement from heaven delivered in a thunderclap. It is something quieter and more reliable than that. It is the arrival of a single clear small step, not the whole staircase, not the complete blueprint of the next 10 years. One step, one action, one decision that, when it presents itself, will feel so obvious that you will wonder how you ever missed it. And when you take that step, the next one will become visible. And then the next. The path does not reveal itself all at once. It reveals itself at exactly the pace your feet are moving. And the pace of your feet in this new season will be different from what it has been, because you are different from what you have been. The formation is complete. The clarity is coming. And it is coming in a form that is so natural, so perfectly matched to who you actually are, that receiving it will feel less like a revelation and more like a remembering. The third area is resources and opportunity. And I want to address this one directly, because I know that for many chosen ones, the financial dimension of the waiting has been one of the most painful. Not just the practical limitations of not having enough, though those have been real and they have been hard, but the deeper pain of watching what felt like your due passed to people and situations that did not seem to have earned it. The opportunities that went to someone with less preparation. The resources that flowed toward directions that made no sense. The persistent feeling of laboring in a field that was not producing at the level your labor deserved. That pattern is ending. What is coming in this season is not the result of more effort. You have done enough efforting. You have pressed hard enough and long enough, and with enough sincerity that the pressing itself is complete. What is coming now is your due, not as charity, not as a gift you did not earn, as the natural arrival of what was always meant to be yours, now that the conditions for receiving it have been fully established. Opportunities are going to appear that you did not manufacture. Resources are going to arrive through channels you did not engineer. Doors are going to open that you did not push. And the peace that accompanies each of these arrivals will be the confirmation that this is not luck. This is the appointed time releasing what it has been holding. Here is what I need you not to do during this period. Do not minimize what arrives. Do not look at the first sign of shift and say it is probably nothing. Do not apply the reflex of self-protection that has served you through the hard season, but will cost you in this one. Do not talk yourself out of the good thing before it has had a chance to fully land, and do not go back. When the door opens, do not stand in the doorway looking backward at the room you are leaving. The room served its purpose. What is in front of you now is larger than what you are leaving behind, even when leaving feels like loss. I know that every word of what I just described is something you can believe for someone else more easily than you can believe it for yourself. I know that the habit of the long waiting season is to hold hope carefully, to not let yourself want too much, to stay slightly suspended between belief and protection. I want to speak directly to that habit right now and tell you this. You are allowed to want the full thing. You are allowed to believe that what is coming is as large as it feels. You are allowed to open your hands completely, not halfway, not with your fingers curled slightly, in case you need to pull back quickly, but completely. Because what is being placed in your open hands in this season was made for the specific shape of your hands, the hands that have been empty long enough to know what it means to receive. If this is landing in you, if something in your body is saying yes to what I am describing, I want you to type the word I receive in the comments right now. Not because the algorithm needs it, though it helps, but because declaration matters. Because the act of saying I receive is the act of opening your hands in the spiritual dimension before the physical evidence has arrived. It is the posture of a person who has stopped defending against their own blessing. It is one of the most powerful things you can do in this moment. Type it, I receive, and mean it with everything in you. What is coming is massive. God said so. And God does not use that word lightly. Sit down, because what is about to hit your life requires you to be grounded enough to receive it without being knocked over. You are grounded, you are ready, and it is already on its way. There is a thread that runs through everything we have covered in this message, and I want to take a moment to pull it into full view before we move into what comes next. Because we have talked about the waiting and the cost and the science and the kairos and the door that is opening and the three areas that are about to shift. And all of that is true, and all of it is real, and all of it is for you. But underneath all of it, beneath every concept and every piece of science and every ancient word and every description of what is coming, there is a single question that this entire message has been building toward answering. And the question is this: who are you now? Not who you were when the waiting began. Not who you were before the years of formation and the closed doors and the quiet grief and the choosing to believe again from a depleted place. Who are you now, after all of that? Who has the process made you into? Because the formation was not just subtraction. It was not just the removal of what did not belong. It was also construction. It was also the building of something specific and irreplaceable, something that did not exist at the beginning of this season, and that exists now because of everything the season required of you. And that something has a name. And I want to give it to you today, not as a label, but as a recognition. Not as something new being added to you, but as something true being finally seen. You are a waymaker. Let me tell you what that means, because I do not want it to be a word that sounds impressive and then fades. A waymaker is not someone who finds the path. A waymaker is someone who creates the path where there was no path before. A waymaker walks into territory that has no road, no map, no previous footprints, and by the act of walking, makes the way for everyone who comes after them. A waymaker does not have the luxury of following someone else's blueprint. They have to trust something deeper than a blueprint. They have to trust the inner compass that was calibrated through years of navigating without external guidance, through years of moving forward when there was no visible road to move forward on. That is what you have been doing. Not just surviving the waiting, not just enduring the difficult season. You have been walking in territory that had no map, making decisions by an inner knowing rather than an outer guide, and by doing so, creating a path that the people who come after you, the ones who are watching your life even now without you knowing it, will one day walk on with more ease than you did, because you went first, because you kept going when the way was not clear, because you did not wait for someone to show you the road before you started walking. That is the specific gift of a waymaker, and it is yours, not because you chose it exactly, though at some level you did, but because you were formed for it through the specific combination of your gifts and your wounds and your long season of navigating without external validation. The things that felt like deficits in the waiting, the absence of a clear path, the lack of a mentor who had done exactly what you are doing, the sense of moving through unmarked territory without a compass, those were not deprivations. They were the training ground. You could not have become a waymaker if someone had handed you a map. The maplessness was part of the formation. And the people who are going to walk the path you are making are not abstract future beneficiaries. Some of them are in your life right now, watching you choose to keep going in circumstances that would justify stopping, watching you maintain your integrity in a season that has not rewarded it visibly, watching you believe in something they cannot yet see, and being quietly, invisibly strengthened by the fact that you have not given up. You may not know who they are. They may not have told you, but they are there. And the way you have walked this season has already been making a way for them, even before the breakthrough became visible. Now I want to do something with you. I want to take you through a short visualization, and I want to ask you to give it your full attention, not as an exercise, but as a genuine experience. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or simply soften your gaze and let the words create the image. Picture yourself standing at a threshold, not a metaphorical one, a real and specific one, a doorway with two sides. Behind you is the room you have been living in for the long season of waiting. You do not have to look at it directly right now. You can feel it behind you. You know its dimensions. You know every corner of it, the quality of the light in it, and the temperature of the air in it, and the particular sign of feelings that fills it at 3 in the morning. That room is real too. Room is real. And it is known, and it has been your home for longer than you expected. Now turn your face forward and look at the threshold itself. Look at the doorway you are standing in. Notice that you are not on either side of it. You are in it. You are already at the place of transition. You did not have to travel to get here. The message found you here. This conversation met you at the threshold. Not because you engineered your way to this moment, but because the Kairos appointed this moment for you, and the Kairos always delivers on its appointments. Now look back, just briefly, just enough to see it clearly without being pulled back into it. Look at the years that brought you here. Not with grief this time, though grief is allowed. With something closer to recognition. See the closed doors and know that each one of them was a door that was not yours. A room that could not have held what you carry. A space that was too small for the waymaker you were becoming. See the relationships that could not survive the distance of your growth, and know that their ending was not a failure of love, but a faithful completion of a season that had run its full course. See the years of silence, and know that the silence was not empty. See the person who walked through all of that, and is now standing at this threshold, upright, still believing, still carrying the full weight of the promise, and know that person is extraordinary. Know that what it took to get here is not ordinary. Know that the road from where you started to where you are standing right now was not a road anyone could have walked except you, with your specific gifts and your specific wounds and your specific refusal to let go of something you could not even always see clearly. Now turn back toward what is ahead. Do not try to see it all. You do not need to see it all from here. You only need to see enough to take the next step. And what I want you to notice, as you look forward from this threshold, is that the ground ahead of you is already lit. Not brightly, not all the way to the horizon, but enough. There is enough light to see the next step, and that is all a waymaker ever needs. Enough light for the next step, because the waymaker knows, from long experience of walking in low light, that the next step always reveals more than the current position can see. And so the waymaker moves, not recklessly, not blindly, but with a steady and grounded confidence in the one who lights the path one step at a time, and has never, not once, left the waymaker standing in complete darkness without a way forward. You are standing at threshold right now, not almost at it, not approaching it, at it. The room behind you has served you. Honor it and release it. The ground ahead of you is lit enough to move. Trust it and step forward. And know as you do that you are not stepping alone, that you have never been alone at any point in the long journey that brought you to this doorway, and that what is on the other side of this threshold is not a surprise to the one who has been walking with you. It has been prepared. It has been held. It has been waiting for exactly this moment when you would arrive at the doorway, fully formed, fully assembled, rope braided, and strong, ready to receive without flinching what was always, always meant for you. Now let me speak a few words directly over you, gently and personally, before we continue. May the grief that has been living in your chest find its way to rest. May the questions that have circled your mind in the long nights find their answers in the right season and not before. May the relationships that are coming carry the quality of recognition that you have been longing for, the feeling of being fully seen and fully honored without having to earn it. May the opportunities that are arriving find you with open hands and a heart that has finally given itself permission to receive. the full thing without reservation. May the clarity that is coming settle in you like something that was always there, like a language you already knew returning to you after a long silence. And may you walk forward from this threshold as the waymaker you have always been, making a road in the wilderness not just for yourself, but for everyone whose journey will be easier because you went first. You are not who you were when the waiting began. You are more, deeper, stronger, wider in your capacity for both pain and joy. More patient than you ever wanted to be, but more capable because of that patience. You have been formed by the exact right process into the exact right person for the exact right moment. Type the words "I am ready" in the comments if you are receiving this. Not because you have no more questions. Not because the fear is completely gone, but because you are choosing, in this moment, to step forward anyway. Because that is what waymakers do. They step forward into unlit ground with just enough light to take the next step, and they trust that the next step will reveal more. Type it, "I am ready," and let it be the declaration that marks the beginning of everything that is coming. You are still at the threshold. And I want to stay with you here for just a moment longer, before we talk about the practical territory of what comes next, because there is something important about this particular position that I do not want to rush past. Standing at a threshold is its own kind of courage. It is different from the courage of surviving the waiting, which is the courage of endurance, of holding on when letting go would be easier. The courage of the threshold is something more active than that. It is the courage of the person who has endured long enough to arrive at the doorway and who now has to make a choice. Not about whether to believe. That decision was made a long time ago, and it has been renewed every morning of the waiting season, without fanfare and without applause. The choice at the threshold is simpler, and in some ways harder than that. It is the choice to actually move, to lift the foot, to cross from one side of the doorway to the other, to stop living in the space between what was and what is coming, and to step fully into what is coming, even before it is fully visible. That choice requires something from you right now. Not a grand gesture, not a dramatic declaration. Something much smaller and much more powerful than that. It requires one practical action, just one, taken today, in the ordinary hours of this ordinary day. In the life you are actually living, rather than the life you are waiting to begin. Because the waymaker does not wait for perfect conditions to start making the way. The waymaker makes the way in the conditions that exist right now, with the resources that are available right now, in the circumstances that are present right now. And the act of taking one small deliberate action in the direction of the life that is coming is the act that signals to heaven, to your own deeper self, and to the unseen forces that are already moving on your behalf, that you are not just receiving the word, you are responding to it. So before we go into the 3 areas of transformation in more detail, I want to ask you to do something. Think of one action, just one, something that connects to the life that is coming rather than the life that has been. It does not have to be large. In fact, it is better if it is not large, because large actions taken from a place of inspiration tend to require a level of sustained energy that the ordinary days do not always provide. Small actions are more powerful than they appear because they are sustainable. They can be repeated. They become habits. And habits are what transform a threshold crossing from a single dramatic moment into a lived and continuing reality. The action might be making one phone call you have been postponing. It might be writing one paragraph of something you have been meaning to write for months. It might be sending one message to one person you have been meaning to reconnect with. It might be signing up for one thing attending one event, saying yes to one invitation that the fearful part of you would normally decline. It might be 7 minutes of silence with the right audio, the kind that opens your brain to the frequency of your own highest potential, the kind that does not require you to have your life together before you begin, the kind that meets you exactly where you are and works with what is already in you, rather than demanding something you do not yet have. Whatever the action is, the size is less important than the direction. It needs to point toward the life that is coming, rather than the life that has been, and it needs to happen today. Not as a performance, not to prove something to yourself or to heaven or to anyone watching. A declaration of alignment is the physical expression of the spiritual reality that you have been receiving in this message. Now let me take you into the 3 areas of transformation with the specificity they deserve, because I described them earlier in broad strokes, and now I want to give you something more concrete, something you can actually feel and recognize when it begins to happen, so that you do not miss it when it arrives, because it does not look the way you expected. The first area is relationships, and the practical action within this area is simpler than you might think. It is not about engineering new connections or strategically positioning yourself to meet the right people. It is about becoming the version of yourself that those new people will recognize when they arrive. And becoming that version of yourself begins with one decision that you can make right now. The decision to stop explaining yourself to people who do not have the capacity to understand, not with anger, not with resentment, simply with the quiet dignity of a person who has recognized that not every relationship is designed to hold every part of who they are. Some relationships are for a season, and some are for a reason, and the wisdom of the waymaker lies in knowing the difference without having to force clarity where it is not naturally present. What you can do today in the area of relationships is make a simple internal inventory. Think of the relationships in your life that consistently leave you feeling more depleted than nourished, more hidden than seen, more managed than honored. You do not need to end those relationships dramatically. You simply need to stop investing the same level of energy in maintaining what is no longer growing. Loosen your grip gently. Create the space, because space is what allows the new to enter. A closed hand cannot receive. And a life that is entirely filled with relationships from the previous season has no room for the people who are coming in this one. At the same time, begin to practice the specific quality that will attract the relationships this new season is preparing for you. That quality is full presence, not the managed, slightly defended, holding something back presence that has been necessary for self-protection through the waiting season. Full presence, the willingness to show up completely in a conversation, to say the true thing rather than the safe thing, to let yourself be actually known rather than presenting the edited version. That has felt safer. The people who are coming into your life in this new season will not be threatened by your fullness. They will be drawn to it. Begin practicing that fullness now, in small ways, in safe contexts, so that when the right people arrive, the muscle of full presence is already warm and ready. The second area is purpose, and the practical action here is one that I want to describe with great care, because I know that purpose has been a source of both longing and frustration for many chosen ones in the waiting season. The practical action is not a brainstorming exercise. It is not making a vision board or writing a 5-year plan. It is something much quieter than that. It is the practice of paying attention to what moves in you when nothing is demanding your attention. In the spaces between your responsibilities, in the quiet moments that exist even in a busy day, there is something that moves, a leaning, a recurring thought, a subject that you find yourself returning to without deciding to, an activity that, when you are doing it, produces a quality of time that is different from ordinary time, a quality of absorption and aliveness that the Chronos clock does not seem to govern in the same way. That moving, that leaning, that recurring pull is not random. It is the signal. It is the compass point that has been trying to orient you toward your purpose through the noise and the pressure of the waiting season. Begin to pay attention to it, not to analyze it or evaluate its practicality or measure it against what seems possible. Just notice it. Write it down if writing helps you think. Speak it out loud if speaking makes it real. Follow the pull one small step at a time, not because you can see where it leads, but because it is the one reliable internal signal that has survived everything the waiting season threw at it. And that survival is the most powerful evidence of its authenticity. The question of what you should do is already answering itself. It has been answering itself for a long time. The answer is in the pull. Follow the pull. One small step, and then the next. The third area is resources and opportunity, and I want to be very direct with you here, because I think there is a mindset that forms during a long season of scarcity that, if not deliberately addressed, will follow you into the abundant season and prevent you from fully inhabiting it. That mindset is the belief, held somewhere beneath the level of conscious thought, that resources are fundamentally scarce, and that getting your share requires taking it from someone else, or that opportunities are rare and fragile and can be lost if you are not constantly vigilant, or that financial provision is something you have to force through effort, and that relaxing your grip, even slightly, will cause everything to slip away. That mindset was formed by experience. It is not a character flaw. It is the natural adaptation of an intelligent person to a genuinely difficult season. But it is no longer accurate, and continuing to operate from it in the new season will cost you more than the original scarcity ever did, because it will cause you to grasp at what is meant to flow naturally to you, and grasping disturbs the flow. The practical action in the area of resources is this. Identify one area of your financial or professional life where you have been operating from a scarcity assumption, where you have been making decisions based on the fear of not having enough, rather than the reality of what is actually present and what is actually coming. And in that one area, make one decision that reflects abundance rather than scarcity, not recklessly, not in a way that is financially irresponsible, but in a way that says to your own nervous system and to the forces that are aligning resources on your behalf, I am operating from a different assumption now. I am not grabbing. I am receiving. I am not forcing. I am positioning. I am not defending against lack. I am moving toward my due. That one decision, made from a place of genuine inner shift rather than performance, will do more to accelerate the resource transformation that is coming than any amount of strategic planning or effortful striving. Because the transformation that is coming in this area is not primarily about what you do. It is about who you are being while you do it. And who you are being is someone who has been formed through a long season into a person whose relationship with provision is no longer defined by fear. The resources are coming. The opportunities are arriving. The relationships are realigning. The purpose is clarifying, and none of it requires you to force anything. What it requires is exactly what you have already been practicing through this entire message. Openness, receptivity, the willingness to receive the full thing without deflecting, without minimizing, without the old reflex of protection that was necessary in the waiting season, but that the breakthrough season has no use for. You have done the hard work. The formation is complete. The The rope is braided and strong. The kairos has arrived. The door that is opening carries the peace that confirms it is yours, and the waymaker, who has been emerging through every difficult season of your life, the one who has been making a road where there was no road and trusting a compass that no one else could see, is standing now at a threshold that opens onto everything that was promised. What do you do right now, in practical terms? In the ordinary hours of this day, you take the 7 minutes. You do the practice. You make the one small action that points toward the life that is coming. You loosen your grip on the relationships that have run their season. You follow the pull that has been pointing toward your purpose. You make one decision from abundance rather than scarcity. And you trust, not blindly, but based on the evidence of everything you have survived and everything. You have become the God who has been faithful in the wilderness is even more faithful at the threshold. You are not almost there, you are there. The ground beneath your feet right now is the ground of the new season. You are already standing in it. All that remains is to look up, look forward, and begin to walk as if you believe it. Because you do believe it. You have always believed it. That is why you are still here. That is why this message found you. That is why the word massive was used over your life, and not small or modest or eventual. Massive, because that is what has been prepared. And massive is exactly what you are ready to receive. We have come a long way together in this message. And before I say anything else, before I give you one more word of what is coming, or one more piece of what to do, or one more concept to carry with you into the new season, I want to do something that I do not think gets done enough in spaces like this one. I want to thank you, not in the performative way that fills the beginning and end of content that does not mean it, in the way that costs something to say because it is genuinely felt. Thank you for showing up. I know what it took. I know that for a person in the kind of season you have been in, choosing to sit with a message like this one, choosing to stay when part of you wanted to close the window and go back to the numbness of something easier, choosing to let the words land, instead of deflecting them with the well-practiced skepticism of someone who has been disappointed enough times to have built a very efficient defense against hope. That choice is not small. It is one of the bravest things a chosen one can do. Not the dramatic brave, the quiet brave, the brave of the person who has been hurt by hope before and chooses to hope anyway. Not because the evidence is overwhelming, but because something deeper than evidence is speaking, and they have learned, slowly and imperfectly, and at real cost, to trust that voice more than the voice of accumulated disappointment. You did that today. You showed up. You stayed. You received. And I do not take that lightly. I also want you to know something that I mean with everything in me. You are not alone in this. Right now, as you sit with this message, in whatever room or vehicle or quiet corner of the world you have found yourself in, there are other chosen ones sitting with the same words. Not hundreds, not thousands. Hundreds of thousands of people scattered across every time zone, every language, every circumstance, who are in the same season you are in, who have been carrying the same weight, who have been asking the same questions in the dark, who recognize themselves in the same signs I named at the beginning of this message. You are part of something much larger than your individual story. The aloneness that has been one of the defining textures of your waiting season is not the truth of your situation. It is the feeling produced by a season that requires a kind of interior work that cannot be done in a crowd. But the work has been done now. The season is turning, and what is coming is not a solitary life. What is coming is connection, real connection. The kind that has been worth waiting for because it has been prepared for you the same way you have been prepared for it. all across the world. Other chosen ones are walking into this exact same message. Some of them are where you were 6 months ago, just beginning to recognize the signs, just starting to name the season they are in. Some of them are where you were at the beginning of this message, sitting with the weight of the waiting without yet having the language to understand it. And some of them are where you are right now, standing at the threshold, receiving the word that the preparation is complete and the massive thing is coming. You are all in the same room, even if you cannot see each other. And the fact that you are not alone in this should not be a comfort that makes you comfortable. It should be a commission. Because a waymaker who knows that other chosen ones are on the same road does not keep the map to themselves. Which brings me to something I want to ask of you. Not for me. I want to be clear about that. What I am about to ask is not for my benefit, though it will help this channel reach further. It is for the chosen one who is going to wake up next Monday morning in the particular kind of quiet desperation that Monday mornings can carry without anyone to name what they are feeling, without the language for their own season, without the word that says you are not broken, you are being assembled, without the concept that says you are not delayed, you are positioned, without the declaration that says what is coming is not small, it is massive, and God said so. That person exists. They are real. They are out there right now, and they have not found this message yet. And whether they find it depends, in part, on what you do in the next few minutes. So if this message reached you today, if something in it landed in the place that needed landing, if you are leaving this conversation different from how you arrived, I am asking you to like this video so the algorithm carries it further into the feeds of people who need it. I am asking you to share it with one person, just one, whose name came to mind somewhere in the middle of this message. The person you thought of when I described the signs of the chosen one. The person whose face appeared in your mind when I talked about the long season of waiting and the weight of carrying something invisible. Send it to them, not with a long explanation, just send it. Let the message speak for itself. Scoot forward to this channel so that the next message finds you the moment it is ready. Because what I have to say to you in the days and weeks ahead is connected to what was said today, and the conversation is not finished. And if this message has genuinely moved something in you, if it has given you something that you would have paid for and did not have to, the donate link in the description is a way of saying, yes, keep going, keep making this, keep sending it out to the people who need it. Not because you owe it, you owe nothing, but because generosity in a season of breakthrough is one of the most powerful things a chosen one can practice. Because it is the physical expression of the abundance mindset we talked about earlier. Because it says, I am not holding everything tightly anymore. I am releasing, and releasing makes room. Every contribution, regardless of its size, means that another message gets made, and another chosen one gets reached, and another person wakes up on their worst Monday and finds out that they are not alone. They are not broken. They are not forgotten. They are being assembled, and the massive thing is coming. Now I want to do one final thing with you. One last exercise, simple and brief and important. I want to ask you to do something physical, something that your body participates in rather than just your mind. I want you to think, right now, about the heaviness you brought into this message, the specific weight of whatever you have been carrying, the grief of the relationships that did not hold, the exhaustion of the years of effort that did not produce visible results, the quiet erosion of self-belief that comes from a long season of invisible formation, the loneliness of being in a season that no one around you could fully see or name. Whatever specific combination of those things you arrived with today, I want you to feel its weight for one moment. Not to sink into it, just to acknowledge it, just to give it its accurate name before you set it down. And now I want you to imagine, as clearly as you can, walking to the threshold we visited earlier in this message, the doorway you are already standing at. And I want you to place that weight at the foot of the door. Not throw it, place it, with care and with intention. As an act of deliberate release rather than desperate escape. Set it down at the threshold and leave it there. Not because the pain was not real. It was real. Not because the cost was not significant. It was significant. But because the room on the other side of the doorway was not built to store what you have been carrying. It was built to hold what is coming, and what is coming requires your hands to be free. Leave the weight at the threshold. You carried it faithfully and far, and it served its purpose. The formation it produced in you is permanent. You do not have to carry the weight to keep what it built in you. The rope is already braided, the strength is already present, the waymaker is already formed. All the carrying produced all of that, and now the carrying is done. Set it down, walk through, with your hands open and your face forward and your body no longer braced against the disappointment of the waiting season, but aligned with the reception of the breakthrough season. And if the 7-minute practice I described earlier in this message is still sitting with you, if the science of the theta to gamma frequency sequence felt like more than information, if something in you recognized the genius wave, not just as a product, but as a practical bridge between the spiritual reality you have received today and the daily practice that will make that reality the lived texture of your ordinary life, then it is waiting for you. The link is in the pinned comment below, not as a pressure, not as a deadline, as an open door, and you will know if it is yours by the quality of peace that accompanies the knowing. That peace is not nothing. That peace is the confirmation that has been the through line of everything we have talked about today. You came into this message as someone who has been waiting. You are leaving it as a waymaker standing at the threshold of the most significant season of your life. The preparation is complete. The Kairos has arrived. The midnight is the hinge, and the hinge is already turning. The door that is opening carries the peace that confirms it is yours, and what is about to hit your life. What God declared over you before this message began, and what every word of this message has been building toward confirming, is not small. It is not modest. It is not the consolation version of the promise. It is massive. And you are ready for it. You have always been ready for it. The moment simply had to arrive, and it has arrived. Right here, right now, in this message, in this moment, in you. There's one more thing I want to leave with you. Not information, not instruction, just blessing. The kind that does not ask anything of you in return. The kind that simply settles over you like something warm and says you are known, you are seen, you are held. And the God who made you has not for one moment taken his eyes off you. Not in the pit, not in the prison, not in the midnight, not in the wilderness, not in the long and silent years of the formation season. Not once. Go now and walk in that knowing. Let it be the ground beneath your feet on every ordinary day that follows this one. You are not leaving this message the same person who arrived. Something has been marked. Something has been sealed. And what has been sealed over your life today is greater than anything that has been spoken against it. Walk in it. You are blessed. You are chosen. And the massive thing is already on its way.